This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, well, good morning, everybody. It is the Ides of September, which shouldn't strike fear into our hearts as the Ides of March did for Julius Caesar. And if you don't know that reference, just do a little Shakespeare reading, classic story. But delighted to see you guys. Thank you so much for joining in. If you just arrived, I'm coming to you from the back porch of my father's house in Dixon, Tennessee. I'm here just for a few days to hang out with family and then heading back on Sunday. And it is a beautiful day in Tennessee. Oh my goodness. This is one of those Four Seasons areas. And you can just feel the chill in the air that fall is coming. It's really awesome. So we didn't get in till late last night. Went to bed on the couch at about 11 o'clock. But let me tell you about a conversation I had in the car yesterday. I got a phone call from 4 members of the EXP conventions team following up on their request for me to speak at EXPCon in Las Vegas. And they were sharing ideas and coaching me a little bit on that. But they sprung a surprise on me. When this was broached earlier in the week, they told me I'd have 30 minutes on the main stage. When they called yesterday, they said, Frank, we're going to put you on the main stage, but we want this to be TED Talk style, and you're going to have 10 minutes. And I'm like, oh my goodness. It is so much harder to deliver a message in 10 minutes than it is in 30. And so I did like, what in the world can I say? What can you say in 10 minutes that has any kind of coherent message and unity and flow and do any good? So I went to bed with this on my mind at 3 o'clock. Man, I sprung wide awake on the couch. And it's just like I had had this download in my dreams or something, and popped open my computer, spent the next 3 hours. And by 6 a.m., I had my 10-minute TED Talk completely scripted. And I'm super pumped about it. And I wanted to give you guys a little preview. And of course, your feedback would be most welcome. I'm not going to actually stand up and give it to you as a speech, but I want to share with you kind of the gist of what I'm going to share on the main stage. And I'm calling it the top 3 beliefs of a top server. Now, we typically in this business talk about the top strategies of top producers and things like that, but I wanted to really kind of change the focus and share what I believe is really the motive that ought to drive every one of us in this business, which is serving people. Obviously, our career, the purpose of our career is to make money, but the beautiful thing is that in this business, service is completely aligned with compensation. And so rather than put the focus on the compensation, I'm going to encourage everybody to put the focus on service, knowing that the compensation will follow. So here they are. Here are the 3 beliefs that I'm going to share on the big stage in Las Vegas. Number 1, see if I can remember all these from 3 o'clock in the morning. Real estate sales is a service business. And that's a mindset. It's a belief that we have to get into our core. Too many real estate agents are shy about proactively offering their services to friends and family and even complete strangers. They are afraid of being perceived as a wheeling, dealing, pushy, hard pressure salesperson trying to make people buy houses that they don't have any interest in. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. In this business, we help people buy and sell homes by serving them. And that means we show up to open houses early with a whisk broom to sweep up the dead roaches off the kitchen floor. We walk the house to put the toilet lids down. We just make sure that everything is ready for that home to show beautifully. When egos get too big, we try to manage them. When emotions flare, we try to be the calm center. Our role is to help everybody in this transaction get to the desired finish line in spite of themselves. We don't do that by high pressure sales. We do that by serving them. So The first mindset that I'm going to encourage you to adopt is real estate sales is a service business. Second one is this. In this business, our compensation is directly linked to the number of people that we serve and how well we serve them. Both of those are critically important. If you only serve, one family and you serve them really well, that family's going to be grateful, but you're probably going to starve to death, okay, or be looking for a job back at Home Depot. We have to serve a lot of families, and if we do that at a high level, then we'll get repeat business and referral business and build a great business. But our compensation is linked to how many we serve and how well we serve. And that should really give us marching orders for our own personal development. If we don't have enough people to serve, remember, this is a helping business. It's a service business. If you're a doctor and you can treat disease, don't you want to save a lot of people, treat a lot of people with disease and not just one or two? So as a real estate agent, think, who else can I serve? And we know for a fact that human beings have become addicted to living in homes, right? Very few choose to live under bridges. Most want to live in homes. And that means they are going to need our help. They cannot do it by themselves. If they try to do it by themselves, as FSBOs often do, or unrepresented buyers often do, we know the severe financial consequences that come with that kind of foolishness. I encourage agents we should see our role as that of a fireman pulling up to a burning house, right? We know that the people or the pets or the possessions in that home absolutely need our service. That's the way we should feel about what we do. We help save people from disastrous financial, emotional, long-term consequences of bad decisions. And because we do that well with enough people, then we don't have to worry about our compensation. If we just serve enough people at a high level, then the compensation will follow. That's the second core belief. The third core belief is this: the highest form of service is to invite other people to come serve with us. And this core belief was really inspired by our EXP affiliation. If you think about it, it is the perfect, purest model of a for-profit service organization I've ever seen. I'm not comparing this to the Red Cross or a church or the Boys Club, but I'm saying for a for-profit company, it is a pure service model because of our rev share and our shared ownership opportunities. Every single person in the organization, all 85,000 of us, benefit when we serve each other. We are incentivized and compensated to help each other boost productivity. If I help somebody in Azerbaijan learn how to be a better real estate agent, they sell more houses, the stock value goes up, I benefit. It's just this pure model of service. If you remember, Jesus said, I've come to serve, not to be served, and to give my life as a ransom for many. But he didn't stop there. He didn't just say, I'm a servant, I have a model of service, that's what I'm here for. Remember, he walked along the Sea of Galilee, he went through the towns, and he picked 12 disciples, and his words to them were, follow me, right? I came to serve. You want to learn how to serve? Come with me, come along with me. That is the same message that we have to deliver to other real estate agents. And they can build a great career at another brand. We know that's true. There's lots of great companies and brokerages out there, but there is no organization in the world that's going to provide them with the opportunity to pay off their mortgage, send their kids or grandkids to a great school, fund an incredible retirement, secure retirement, and then create multi-generational wealth for their children and grandchildren. There's nothing else like it. And so we need to perceive, this is, again, it's a perception issue, it's a mindset issue, a belief issue. We have to see ourselves as serving other real estate agents when we invite them to participate in the opportunities and blessings of the EXP organization. Well, there we go. That's it in a nutshell. That's kind of the heart of it. They've only given me 10 minutes, and I think I did that in about 8 or 9, so hopefully I'll be able to squeeze all that in. I've got an introduction and a conclusion that I left out of what I just shared with you that I'll be sharing on the main stage. But that's what I want to kind of kick things off with today, is this whole mindset of service. And now that I've kind of thrown down the gauntlet, I'm going to be quiet for a couple minutes. I'd love to hear your response, your pushback, your additional insights. What do you think? All quiet in web world.
I'll say, I love all of those three core beliefs. That last one, whenever I am talking to other agents about what EXP has to offer, that it's almost like I feel a sense of responsibility or duty to at least show them what we have to offer. Um,
Yes,
and that kind of takes the pressure off of me feeling like I'm being salesy or recruiter
yes,
MLM ish. You know what I mean?
yes,
So it makes me feel like it's my responsibility to share this, my duty to share this with these people so that they know how good it is here. And if they choose, that either they decide it's not right for them, then that's fine. But I've done my part. So
yes.
I love that you're framing it that way, because I think that could be helpful to a lot of people who are maybe standoffish about introducing people to the EXP model.
Yeah, I think of it like this. If you were a beggar and you found bread, wouldn't you go tell the other beggars where to find it?
Right.
If you were a miner and you struck gold, wouldn't you shout Eureka, so that everybody would know? When you find a good thing, well, you heard me say this last year. Once I discovered uh, the incredible value add opportunities at EXP, I felt a moral obligation to tell you guys about it and invite you to come along with me. It's the same thing. But it starts in your mind. That's why I'm calling this a mindset or a beliefs discussion. You have to really own that inside yourself. And when you tap into that, then it just very naturally overflows. If you buy a Corvette and you fall in love with that Corvette, you're not going to be able to help talking about that Corvette, inviting people to come to your club meetings, come over and just let me give you a ride around the block in my car. Whatever you truly believe in and you're passionate about, it just will come out your pores. So if you're not there yet with this opportunity, I just would encourage you, pause, think about it, examine your current beliefs, challenge your current beliefs, try to get your beliefs. This is always the challenge for every one of us in every area of life, is to get our personal beliefs in alignment with the truth. And to the extent that we can move in alignment with the truth, then doors of opportunity open everywhere. We're not walking in a deception or second best, but we're truly aligned with where we want to go. Great
One of
thoughts,
the
Blythe.
one
Yep,
of
go
the
ahead.
one-liners that we heard at conference a couple weeks ago was, if you're not convinced, you'll never be convincing. And
Yeah,
I
that's
love taking that, and thinking of it that way in all aspects of life. But you have to be convinced first. So anyway.
yes, yes. And let's back up a couple steps. So I started this whole beliefs conversation around serving real estate clients, buyers and sellers. That real estate sales is a service business. We're in a service industry. That will really help your attitude if you can internalize that when you're dealing with difficult clients. And again, I'm going to go back and use a hospital analogy. When a patient comes into the emergency room, they're not all smiles, they're not peaches and cream. Sometimes they're screaming, they're fighting, they're thrashing. The doctors and the nurses don't get their feelings hurt. Okay. They know what they're dealing with. They know the life situation of those people coming through the door who've experienced great physical trauma. We need to have that attitude about our buyer and seller clients. Buying and selling the house is a traumatic experience. There is so much on the line, so much of their money, of family disruption, of their own ego, of their future plans. And that means they're not always the nicest, but we need to have that professional demeanor, of being above the fray, of being the calm at the center of the storm. I often use the analogy, be the police officer at the accident scene. Don't take it personally. Instead, just recognize it's not against you. They're not being mean to you, rude to you, may look that way on the surface. They're just responding to a situation they're in. They're responding to you in the role that you're in. Has nothing to do with you as a human being. So just let that stuff go, understand the situation they're in, and continue to serve them. Continue to provide them with high levels of service. I'll tell you a funny story. Years ago when I was selling, there was a little snafu. I was selling this woman's home in South Houston, and the deal kind of fell apart with the first buyer, and she kind of blamed me and was all upset with me. And I'm going to use her words. I hope nobody's offended by this, but I want you to understand exactly what went down. So she called me after all this and fired me. She just let me have it and blasted me really good. And I said, okay, I'm so sorry. I understand. I'll come get my sign. I'll take it off the MLS and, blah, blah, blah. And she says, Frank, what are you talking about? Don't you know not to believe a mad black woman when she's angry? I'm like, oh, no, actually I didn't, but thank you for educating me. And I went on, I kept the listing, I sold the home, then I helped her buy a home in spring, and we have remained friends now for many, many years. But again, I didn't react emotionally to her emotion, but I also didn't back off and just take a deep breath and say, you know what, I understand how you feel. Let's take another run at this and see if we can't do better the second time. I was just heading for the back door to get out of that situation. So again, just be the calm professional, stay in service mode, and you won't give up opportunities like I almost did in that situation. All right, anybody else want to jump in on this discussion before we shift gears? All right, I see we've had a number of others join us. Welcome aboard. Good to have you here, Nancy. Did you want to add to that discussion? There you go.
Okay. Yeah, so I just wanted to say this just in case. I mean, I kind of get discouraged and I start to kind of just lose heart when people say no to me long enough. I'm sure y'all experience that too. I mean, I just but when I finally, so there was just one girl that I've been trying with her for a while, and but not really trying to push the issue. And she's one of my best friends. She's the reason I started loving real estate 10 years ago. And anyway, so she called me and she said, you're the only one that's not bugging me like crazy. She said, so I'm just going to let you know, everybody keeps calling me about EXP. And she said, but you're the one who I feel like I can work with the best and everything. And she said, so I'm just going to come and we're going to do this thing together. And I was like, what? Okay, cool. So she came, we got her signed up. And, the thing about the motivation that it gives me to be able to help someone and to be able to, show them, and it just gets me back into the swing of things. It's just encouraging to finally have somebody who wants to do it. And then it's funny because last night I ran into someone as well, somebody who's been hearing about EXP and who's been, people been bugging him to do it. And he's just saying, yeah, there's no way I would come over there because I've got all this and all this. And I said, yeah, but you could bring that with you. I said, then you'd have all that and all that, plus all this and all this, And I actually feel like I think he might actually end up coming over now. But just because I kind of explained a few things. But anyway, the point I'm making is that after being discouraged for a little while, after just getting a lot of no's and people talking about the MLM thing, it's like just seems too multi-level marketing. But you gotta remember that multi-level marketing. I was listening to Kim. She was talking the other day, and she said, well, at least he's not Amway. And then when I was telling my friend that came with me, she said, does Kim realize that Amway is like $1 billion company? And I thought, that's a good point. I mean, we have to let them know that there are some really big advantages to this whole multi-level thing that we're doing. And the other thing that she mentioned that I thought was really good, and I mean, I knew this already, but it was just, I was able to answer her. She said, why is it that whenever you start on the first level, you get a lower amount, but your second level, you get more. And I said, well, that's the whole point, is so that you would be more apt to help your people grow, and helping them to, helping your team grow or whatever. And I say a team, I know it's not a team. That's the other question I have too. What is it? What do we call it? What do we call it's just rev share group? Is that what you call it? Because it's not your team, right?
Yes. So you can come up with any name for it that you want. Like I've come up with the Abby team, even though we're not a team, but that's what I've chosen to call the agents that I serve. But it is technically your revenue share group. That's what it is.
The Franklin team calls it collaboration group a lot as well.
Yes, and then of course you've got the aardvarks and the honey badgers. Yeah, all those kind of things. So let me follow up on something Nancy said. She talked about her friend being, I'm going to turn you off here, Nancy, just a second so we don't get too much feedback. So her friend had said that they have been hounded by a whole lot of people about eXp Realty. There's an approach to sales which will apply to everything with buyers and sellers, landlords, tenants, or with your agent friends that you're inviting to join you on this journey. And it's just called this: soft and persistent. You never want to come on strong. You never want to push anybody. People will make a decision on their own time when they're ready. So you always just want to be gentle. You want to build a relationship. You want to continue to serve them, provide value to them. That doesn't mean asking them all the time, will you buy a house with me? Will you let me sell your house? Will you come join eXp? Don't. Just continue to provide them information on their home values. Continue to provide them with testimonials of other people that you've helped. That's very soft. In terms of attraction, invite them to our events, bring them to Power Monday, not just at Grace Church, but we're going to be doing Power Monday every Monday from going forward. We're just going to be doing them at Abbey Academy instead of at the church. So just invite, serve. That's the soft part. The persistent part is don't stop, don't give up, because we know that everybody needs our services eventually. And in terms of eXp, they're all coming. We don't know when, but they're all coming, and we want to be the one who is there when the time is right for them. So that's why we have to be persistent in our soft approaches and not give up, continue to serve, continue to invite. And by doing that, we'll be in the preferred position when their life circumstances change and their mind is open and they're ready to work with us at whatever level. All right, who else has, let's shift gears here, turn the page and go open mic. So what is it that you have bumped up against recently that's been challenging for you or has created great opportunities for you? What questions do you have? Struggles, celebrations, wins? Open mic, just turn yourself on and tune us in.
Frank, so you guys, one of the main reasons I'm here today is because I have a person. I know, Frank, that you're familiar with the property. It's the one out there, the big 10-bedroom house with the church building. And he still won't sign a contract with anybody right yet. And he really does want the thing sold. He wants me to work he wants me to work. He just doesn't want to sign. And because he's had this contract with this person for 6 months, and he didn't do a good job. He didn't sell the property. I think it's overpriced. To me, it's a problem property. And I know you've heard all this before because I've talked to you about this thing before. But, what do I do? Like, how do I get him to make a decision? Somebody has said, just do 30 days. Somebody has said, do 30 days. I think that was you. I think that was either you or somebody else said, just do 30 days and just show them, what you can do. Or, 90 days. And it's a big property. And
so that wasn't me.
It wasn't?
No, and I would not recommend you take on a big property like that on a short-term contract, because that's just going to make you the latest casualty agent. because that property is typically a property like that is not going to sell quickly. You know, you're going to need a 6 to 12 month listing agreement on a unique property like that. So I'm going to fall back on soft and persistent. Just be there, serve, continue to send comps, continue to talk about the property with people that you think might be interested in it. The best thing that you could do to land that listing would be to go find a buyer, you know, honestly. So maybe start without spending money, but as economically as possible, start networking in the realm where you could find potential buyers for that unique property, charitable organizations, churches, things like that. And if you can turn up some interest, even if somebody's not ready to make an offer, if you could start, you know, bringing some people out and showing the property, that's going to impress that owner like nothing else, and incline him to sign. But if he's just pushing back, he's not ready. So that's where you have to be soft and persistent. Just be there, continue to serve, and when he's ready to get serious, you'll be the one who's there. So I'm going to add one more point of advice, and that is, don't stall your career by focusing on one hard client who's not even a client yet. So while you continue to serve him, focus on the vast majority, the millions of other potential buyers and sellers out there who are ready, willing, and able to engage with you. So don't get sidetracked and sabotage your business by just chasing that one.
So I have one more question about that particular situation, and it's about like creating a listing. Like it's so hard to sell this thing without going and getting professional pictures done, and without making a listing, making something I can show to someone. So, you know, I'm just curious what your thoughts are on how to do something to show someone.
Yeah, I don't know that I would go that far, Nancy. I would just network, call people that you know, describe the property, say, is this anything that you might have interest in? If so, let's schedule an appointment. I'll take you out there and show you around. But I wouldn't go to any expense or trouble making flyers, printing flyers, things like that. Velvet, do you want to jump in on this?
Yeah, the KV Core has a pretty fun little feature where you could enter a listing manually. So if he were willing to pay for photos, and you could get permission from him to create this manual listing, and then you can promote it on your Facebook page, your social media, and it gives a professional presence. That's something I did for someone once because they wanted to sell it off market. Anyway, it's quick and it's easy, and I just like the feature.
You just told me something about KV Core that I never heard of. So thank you very much. That's awesome. And let me share with all of you a communication I had this morning with Jeff Whitespear. Jeff texted me this morning. He's one of the top agents in Houston. He's just an incredible guy. He and Amanda run a big powerhouse team down out of the Galleria area. And he texted me this morning and said, Frank, call me. I want to get on your Power Monday schedule. I want to come and be the featured speaker. I want to come and train your agents. And then he followed up by saying, I am a KV Core expert. Now, somebody who claims to be a KV Core expert is a KV Core expert. And he teaches on this subject far and wide. So we have an opportunity in November. And I'm going to circle back on his message and get that booked and bring him out. And we'll have a whole Power Monday at Grace Church focused on how to sell more homes using the tools at KV Core. So that's a little bit different spin that we normally do on a Power Monday. It will only have real relevance to people who have KV Core, or we should say, those who are willing to join and gain access to it. So look forward to that. Diane?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch his name.
Jeff Whitespear, Jeff and Amanda, and it's like white, like the color, and then S, Whitespear, P-E-A-R-E, Whitespear.
Thank you.
Yeah, great guy. Y'all get to know him in November if you don't know him yet. All right, Judith, Cy, Michelle, Robert, what's on your mind?
So
Okay,
just
since you called my name, I will ask.
Okay, hold on. Cy,
Go ahead,
Robert,
Shy.
first, we'll come right back to you.
Yeah, that's okay. Go ahead.
I was intrigued by what Velvet said. For some reason, I don't know why I thought that KV Corp was limited to doing ones that were with your brokerage, like boosting properties with your brokerage. I have a friend who is a realtor with a different brokerage who's been having trouble selling her home. So will KV Corp allow me to do a property boost on her listing even though she's with another brokerage?
Okay, all together. Nod yes or nod no. Looks
And
like
if
everybody's
I wanted
saying
to
yes.
do I wanted to do a YouTube video for her property as well.
Yes.
Is there something we have to get them to sign with them being with another brokerage when we do that? If we
So,
do, she's the owner and she's also the realtor for this property. She's an investor.
okay, so let me answer the first question very clearly. Yes, you can KV Core property boost any active listing in the MLS, and you do not need additional permission from the broker because the IDX agreement that broker signs automatically gives every agent in Houston permission to promote every other active listing. Now,
Okay.
in this case, you're not the listing agent. Your friend is the owner of the property and the listing broker, correct?
Well,
So
agent,
yes.
yeah.
Yes. No, anytime that you're creating your own media to promote another broker's listings, you'll want to get permission from that broker to do so. And honestly, since this is a video, if it was a separate owner, I would get permission from the owner as well. And that's a great point you raised, Cy. Once you get that written permission, then promote away. Shoot your video, promote away.
Does EXP have a form for that?
No, there's no
Okay.
form. They can just
So
send you an
email.
email. Just anything that documents their permission is fine.
Okay. Thank
But
you.
you're very welcome. In COVID, agents started doing video tours for prospective buyers, doing video open houses and such at unprecedented levels. And that's great. We have to utilize technology to get the word out as far as possible. But I want to caution you, you never want to shoot video or even a walking tour for your buyers. Say one of the buyers is with you in another's home in San Francisco, and so you're going to show the property to the husband, and he's going to, you're going to do a live Facebook Live or a Zoom or whatever with the wife. You cannot do that without written permission of the owner of the property. And that's because what you show or reveal in that video could create privacy concerns. So anytime you're doing your own media, you go in and you take pictures, you shoot video, or you broadcast live, make sure you have written permission from the owner and the broker to do so. Okay? All right, Robert, what's on your mind?
I was just going to say, from a service standpoint, we all sell houses, but in the market we're in right now, a lot of times we're dealing with the renters too. And what you said today kind of resonates, because I inevitably always get those renters that got the below 600 credit score, sometimes below 500.
Yes.
Got the pit bull, got the and the list just kind of goes on.
Yes.
But when they tell you the story that's going on in their life, sorry, the dog's in the background. It makes you want to, kind of go above and beyond to kind of help them, even though in the back of your head they got themselves in this situation, right? And so, like, I have a young couple right now that I'm in that scenario, and I would just tell you that the service part of it really, I think, is what put me in a position where I am now, where I started reaching out to different agents and talking to agents, and just was trying to work it out for this couple in advance. And long story short, I ended up coming across an Icon agent with EXP up north. And he basically came back and said, dude, I've got this community that's got 15 plus houses with rentals in them. I don't normally do rentals. I don't want to deal with rentals. It's 5 minutes from your house. How about you take that over for me? And I was just blown away by that scenario. And really, I kept asking myself, why would this guy just randomly do that? And I think it really comes back to what you're talking about this morning, which is that service piece. You
Yes.
know, going above and beyond and doing extra. I mean, not, you don't want to do that to benefit yourself, but in this scenario, by doing something above and beyond for somebody else, I think that's what got me to where I have this new opportunity. So
No, I love that. If you're in this business very long and you have that mindset, you're going to accumulate a lot of those stories. Things that you think are completely altruistic. You're not going to make any money. Well, guess what? They've got a cousin, a brother, you know, an investor. It just opens up doors. And honestly, I think what inspired me to pop up at 3 o'clock this morning and have my speech like completely downloaded, it just in the middle of the night, was a comment that Kim Frazier made when she was here earlier in the week, just almost exactly along the lines of what you said, Robert. She said she treats her Section 8 renters with the same honor and dignity that she gives $1 million buyer. And, you know, to me, that just summed it up. You know, if that is the attitude of a servant, and that's what we've got to bring to this business. And if we can treat everybody like kings and queens and like our most valued client, you know, we may only make $100 on a particular rental, low value rental, and maybe it never turns into something else. But I'll tell you what, we're going to walk taller. We're going to feel better about ourselves. And that attitude is going to carry over. It will create opportunities. I really believe what the scripture says. We reap what we sow, and we sow goodness and service. We can't help but reap a good harvest from that, financial and otherwise. Diane?
Just to support what Robert was saying, a lot of my renters, they may not ever get in a position to be a buyer, but they are some of the biggest supporters of referring you out. I have one renter where I had to do what Robert said and go way above and beyond to get them into a rental due to some circumstances their son had been through, you know, with criminal record and so forth. And I actually went out and took them to meet the landlords, asked them to please have a face-to-face, hear the story. She cried, she hugged me for years. They still their realtor, but they refer me out all the time. So I've had quite a few sales just off their referrals. So anytime you treat someone like a human being and go beyond, you know, judging the surface of what their issues are, I mean, they're not used to someone treating them with so much respect that they truly appreciate, usually, I would think, truly appreciate your efforts.
Yeah, that's a great story, Diane. Yeah, that illustrates what Robert was saying. All right, who hasn't jumped in? Evelyn, Trina, Marcus, Kathy, Coleman. Anybody else want to put something on the table, ask a question, stir things up a little bit? Marcus?
Yes, Frank. That's the Robert. I also have a client right now that's a renter, and of course the credit is bad. They have the funds because they just sold their house, but the credit is really, I don't know what got them in that situation. So they've been being turned down by many landlords, you know, every time they apply. So I thought I heard Robert said that he got, you know, some more rental houses in this area.
Yes.
Is that correct, Robert? Yes.
it is, and actually, uniquely enough, this landlord doesn't pull credit. So,
Okay.
but it's up in the Willis area, so they have to be willing to. I mean, it's a bit of a commute for a lot of people.
Okay, well, I'll run that by my client and see if they're willing to be up that. I know they want to stay within the Spring Houston borderline, you know, so
Yeah,
on that side.
It's about 25 miles north of Spring. No,
Okay,
not quite that far, but
yeah, I'm familiar with Willis. I know where that is. Okay, I'll let them know to see if they're willing to go up that route. All right, thank you so much.
Hey, thanks, Marcus.
And if they say yes, then I'll link up with Robert and we'll take it from there.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Love it, love it, love it. Yes, Velvet.
I would also like information on that neighborhood, Robert, if you don't mind. A couple of things on rentals, I think it's very interesting that the conversation has turned to rentals. My personal belief on that is as interest rates go up, and if they continue to do so and prices continue to go up, which I do think that they also are going to do so, I think we're going to see a season where rentals are going to be really important, and it's not going to be the big money, but if we, build a pillar in our businesses that is strong in servicing rentals, it's going to get us through a downtime. One thing that I'm experiencing with those rentals, that with the unqualified, people who don't have the right credit score, we have a property management company that will just increase the deposit amount. And so that's something I've been able to ask landlords, okay, they don't have the credit score, but they do have the cash to put down a higher deposit, and that sometimes gets them in. So I just thought I would throw that tip out there as well for anyone who, sounds like we're all seeing a little influx in renters. So that's just some of the things I'm experiencing.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of people out there with bad credit, but they do have assets, good jobs. They may be sitting on a pile of cash, and cash will trump a bad credit score just about every time. So if they can pay 6 months in advance, or pay the entire year in advance, or just put down 2 months security deposit, if that cash investment will often overcome the credit score. All right, let's go to Trina, and then we'll hop back to Bob. Trina?
I have a quick question on a sales, not a rental. I have a seller that has a beautiful house. He and I are still kind of establishing our relationship, and just his personality, I'm really trying, he wants to put an offer on a house whenever we find the house. We're still kind of looking around. But he wants to include a contingency, and he doesn't even have his own house listed. So, and I'm gently telling him explaining to him that, a seller is not going, especially even though the market is shifting, it doesn't change the fact that a seller is going to always be hesitant to sign a contract when you don't have your house on the market. Yes. But I was thinking, because I know his house is beautiful, he has an exceptional home, and they are selling in my neighborhood $1 million homes in Oak Estates that are still under construction. His home is on par with those homes. It's just not across the gate. Okay. And it's actually a little bit more finished and nicer. Okay. So my suggestion is, can we put his house on the market, find a buyer with the stipulation, with the deadline eventually, that he does not have obligation to close until he's able to purchase a contract with another house?
Wow, that's a selling contingency. We normally deal with buyer contingencies.
New builders do it.
Yeah, so the answer is yes. Just about anything that you can conceive of can be put in a contract as a provision. However, you're not an attorney. So you would either need the client to hire an attorney to write that language, or the attorney would, or the client would need to write the language themselves. If they're an attorney or they operate in the legal world, maybe that's okay, but it's probably better to spend $400 and have the client hire an attorney to draft that language, and then you can put that in special provisions or as an addendum to the contract.
Okay, good news. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. And by the way, I kept saying the client would need to hire the attorney. That was on purpose, because as a real estate agent, you are not allowed to pay for an attorney to write contract language. That must be paid by the client themselves. Okay. Sometimes we try to go above and beyond, and we get ourselves in trouble. So don't do that. Robert?
I was just going to say, I think Velvet had asked this question. So TexasRenders.com, they do a 500 credit score. If you're below 600, they'll do a double deposit, and they usually have a pretty decent supply of inventory. So just credit, it's just texasrenters.com.
Yeah, that Marcus, you'll benefit from that one as well. Okay, thank you, Robert. Nancy, you want to jump in here?
I was just going to ask the question following Trina. Is that not something that that we could ask Michael to kind of write, like some kind of statement that we could put in special provisions?
No. So Michael is an attorney. He is licensed. His license is active, but he does not practice as an attorney. He doesn't take on clients, and on behalf of EXP, it would not be his role to write that language. Just the fact that he has a law license doesn't directly impact his role as managing broker. EXP has an actual legal department that would draft documents like that. And given the fact that this is an extremely rare request and situation, I doubt they would want to take that on. So it's going to come down to the seller in this situation hiring their own attorney. And I've got a good one. If anybody needs a real estate attorney, Gary Pate, P-A-T-E, he's with Thompson & Co. And I found him a couple of years ago. I shopped every real estate attorney I could find. He had the lowest rates and a great reputation. I've used him on countless situations since. I've referred him out countless times, and he's pretty amazing. So if you need one, Gary Pate is the way to go. Hey guys, we are really coming up against the time here. Did anybody have a final thought or quick question they wanted to put on the table? Okay, well, Marcus, is that you?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Robert. But I think my client may be a little bit below the 500. Though they even on the applications they put doing the double deposit, and still, but I will check that out, texasrentals.com, and also tell them about your properties in Willis and take it from there. Thank you so much, Brian. Thank you very much, Robert. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. And Marcus, in a situation like that, you probably would serve them well by hooking them up with a credit repair company. They probably need to get that credit score boosted, and a good credit repair company can pick up 30, 40 points very quickly, usually just by looking at the situation and moving a few things around.
Beautiful. Thank you, Frank. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I think
Mandy Wells does awesome credit service repair, and she is phenomenal EXP Abby agent. She's the best. Mandy Wells.
Okay.
Yes. I'm good associate with her because I did some helping with her as well. So I was just about to link her up.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks for that recommendation, Trina. Looks like Cy is in the Abby Academy training room. Good job for you. There's all kinds of goodness happening there this morning at 10 o'clock. Hello Super is going to do a 1-hour CE class on social media. And then at 11 o'clock, we're going to have a class, and I've forgotten the exact subject, but one of our Jackson Henry loan officers is going to teach it, and it is mortgage related. And my apologies for not checking that out before I logged on here on the back porch, but good classes at 10 and 11 this morning. You guys, it's so good to see you.
Class.
There we go, mortgage math. Is that on the calendar, Robert? Okay, excellent. Mortgage math. So don't let math scare you. Show up and we'll make it easy for you. But appreciate y'all logging in. It makes me so happy to be in Tennessee and see us connected in this way, pressing on. So you guys have a great weekend. Monday is going to be Power Monday again. It's going to be at Abby Academy. I'm going to be teaching on the top 10 strategies to generate an additional $100,000 in the next 12 months. We've got Cam Collins, who's going to come in with a special feature presentation. We've got breakfast on the way. We're going to be giving out some trophies, doing awards and recognition. I really want to make our Mondays very special so that everybody wants to come out and be part of it. And don't have a lunch sponsor yet, but if I don't get one, I'll be firing up the grill and we'll be doing hamburgers and such, because I really want us to get our camaraderie mojo back. And it's cooling off enough now that we can get out and enjoy the outdoor gardens a bit. So y'all have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Take care.
Thanks, Frank.
My pleasure.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Frank. Take care.
Thanks, Frank.